Hello folks, it's time for a new mini project while we're waiting for myself and Ian to get our axe together and start work on his fire blade, which we've got to do the fork seals on and have a look at his front wheel bearings. He had new front bearings. What the fucking hell's going on there, man? Alrighty then, I've got cardboard boxes on the floor, which is why I can't shut the door. You know, we look forward to recycling day when we can get a bit more in the bin. Although the weather's better, we're going to burn a bit of it. So, I've just had a bit of a mini tidy up. Oh, that is what I rested the oil filter in my Mercedes in, because I always check the filter, separate the pleats, look for any forbidden glitter and all that lot, and that is all right, so that can go out of there, out of sight, out of mind for a moment. So yes, so while we're waiting for that, I'm going to do a quick little project for Uncle Colin, who trimmed my bush. Can you guess what the project is, ladies and gentlemen? It's actually related to trimming my bush, because Colin's chainsaw has packed up. Well, not packed up, it's not oiling the chain. On chainsaws you have an oil pump. They're just like a little two-stroke go-kart engine, attached to a centrifugal clutch with a sprocket which turns the chain. So when you go, it spins the chain. They also have a little oiler which oils the chain, much like the chain on your motorbike. And it's usually fed through a little pump which is powered by a worm gear, which is in turn powered by the centrifugal clutch. Basically, when the clutch is spinning, the pump is working. What sometimes happens is the gears strip, because they're either Chinesium cast metal, so it's about as hard as an eggshell, or there's some nylon component in there and the nylon will strip, because if there's ever a chain jam or anything like that, it's got to be able to take the shock. So yes, in this little bag of wonder I have is already sort of pre-stripped it, and I bought some oil absorbing mats the other day. So yes, so this is what we're looking at. It's a chainsaw. So what I'm going to do now is just tip it on his side. He's took the petrol out and he's drained the oil as best he can, and I'll show you what we're looking at. Right, turn this fucker off and let me just clean the lens, because I did notice on one of the other videos that I had a very dirty lens, and I didn't notice till I edited the footage, which is then too late to refilm it. Jim, shut up. Anyway, if you're not familiar with swords of chain sword, yeah, it should be a chain sword. Basically, it's a little strimmer engine attached to a centrifugal clutch. We see it's got a free spinning hub with a sprocket, and then when you rev it up, these weights, counterweights, fling out, a bit like a C90 clutch, and these shoes grip the outer and spinny the chain. And that is also your fail-safe for if the chain snags or anything like that. It's not going to, you know, bend a comrade or anything. It will simply sort it out. So your blade arm bolts there, and obviously your chain goes around, and you adjust your tension on this, you know, pulling it, all this lot, all that load of bollocks. And anyway, in there under the clutch is the oil pump for the chain oiler. It's absolutely wazzing it down. It was 10 degrees when I left work, and literally I got to, if you know the area, Sharnford, which is about, well, it's not halfway through my journey. I got to Sharnford, it was 3 degrees and snowing. Yes, anyway, so yeah, so that's where the oil pump lives, under that. and there's an adjustment screw there. I think that's to alter the oil flow, etc, etc. But what we need to do, I'm not sure where the oil weep hole is actually. That could be it. I don't know. Or it's probably under here, to be fair. I don't know because I've not looked super deep into it yet. But what I need is, these are righty loosey, and you can get a removal kit for it, which is basically a disc that goes on here, sits in these, and you go wallop. But first you must jam the piston. You've got to lock the crankshaft, and what some people use is a big piece of hairy string, as Colin has tried to do, but there's still loads of give. I can actually turn that before it stops moving, which is not ideal. So I've ordered the proper kit. The proper kit, it was only about 15 quid, and it's got the proper disc, and it's got the proper thing to thread into the sparkage of plug hole, and then that will gently butt up against the top of the piston and stop the piston turning. You literally just finger tight it. It's, you know, you don't gorilla or anything, and then we can get that clutch off, and we can get this plate off and look behind it. But we've got to wait a day or two for that to come in now. So by the magic of filmage, it will be instant for you, a day or two for me. So we'll pick this up when the toolage arrives.
Day 2.
Well folks, the clutch tool is here. It is actually the next day, which consists of this, which goes into its spark plug hole, and that, which fits on top of the clutch, allegedly. Ooh, it does. Right. That's about an 18mm at the top. So let's put the bung in the spark plug. It actually took me longer to get in the packet than it has to do anything. Right. Let's put this somewhere where we're never going to see it again. This is the air filter. There we go, that can just go. You can just go there, right. It took that much. Right. Now I need to gorilla that in. Hopefully it's the right thread. And it is. Right, sorted. That's nice and bottomed out. So then, on to the next job. Can I do this without losing my knuckles? Because we've got to remember, it's a righty loosey. Oh. I'm going to have a good tidy up in the shed at the weekend. I'll probably do something else though. I'm using a crow's foot spanner because I can't be asked to go out into the other shed. Right, let's see. Well, if I had a better purchase, yes, I'm going to use not a crow's foot, because the angle of dangle isn't right. Let's put that there. Let's get 18mm socket. Lovely. Right, see if we can do it. Oh, I've got my breaker bar there. That might be better. Yes, Jim. I bet it will be better, because if you're going to break anything, you definitely do it with a breaker bar. That was my thoughts. Right, here we go. Okay, now. That is on well. So if you watch internet videos, they go, and then you just do this, beep, and it goes. So we all know how that goes. I might have to just support the vice handle in the right fucking middle. That's why I need a tidy up. Let's see. Let's put some protection over there, and I can probably pull it towards My fat belly. Fucking internet's a liar again. Fucking hell. That's got it. It's just a bit awkward having the sort of chains loose like that. I think got it. It definitely moved. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. It's very odd. It's not very often. And there you go. There's the sprag clutch. There's the weights that fly out. These are the shoes. They're in good nick. We've got a washer, a drum with the sprocket on the back. Sprocket's not too bad. Not too bad. So remember the order that they go in. Drop them in. And then we've got this plastic cover, which I'm guessing just comes out. You see, there you are. I'm guessing that just, oh yeah, pops out. There's a roller bearing as well, look. That's a roller bearing that isn't roller bearing, so we'll clean that up. If not, we'll have to replace it. Plastic cover. Yes, and then I'm guessing it's this cover off, which will be 3 cap head screws. One of them's already full of sawdust. What I'm guessing is the pump gets full of sawdust. Right, let me find an Allen key, and we'll buzzy wuzzy those off. Right, let's see if I can do this one-handed. The actress said to the bishop. Lovely. Oh, nice. Being Chinesium, I was fully expecting these to just strip. Okay, that's it. That's the third one. Look how disorganised I am, it's disgusting. Right, in theory what happens is the oil pump is behind this. It is driven by the crank on a worm gear, and there will be a pipe. There's an inlet pipe to the pump, then the outlet is actually this black bit here. So this black bit should weep oil into this channel, and then it goes on the chain blade and gets distributed. Now what can happen is this pipe can actually get a hole in it, and it will suck air instead of oil, and if it does that, it's not a good day. Right, let's get this cover off. All this will actually be meticulously cleaned. Yes, and there is your worm gear, otherwise known as a worm do. What's a worm do? Yeah, I know it's old. So your inlet pipe for the oil is this bit here. And oh, let's use the proper pointing device. Is just behind here. And then this is the outlet, is there. Comes along here, goes along this channel, onto the blade, distributed. That is the oil adjustment screw, just there. And the one on the internet web didn't have this sponge bit on, which I suppose makes sense, because if there is weepage, that will take it up. Because you don't want a lot of oil floating around here, because sawdust, and oil. This is very, 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 very clean, because it's Collins. But yeah, I can't see any other gear acting upon that worm, unless it's this. It can't be that. That's a sealing surface, surely. Anyway, let's get the pump out and see if we can figure out how it works. I'm going to struggle to do this one-handed because I'm going to have to take this. We'll have to take the pipe off. Oh, that can go off with the pump. There is a pipe on the back. Let's see if we can we finagle it out with this pick. The bolts that are holding the pump on are longer, so
just be aware of that when you stick everything back together. Yeah, at the minute I can't see the obvious way the pump drives. Right, I've got to prise it out. That I will return shortly. Not fully understanding how this works yet, because I was expecting that worm gear to be driven by an other gear. Now either that gear's disappeared, but I can't see any evidence of it. There's no detritus, but I have just very, very lightly scraped that off this O-ring. Surely the O-ring is not the friction surface for that that worm drive. That to me just doesn't make sense. Worm drives usually engage another gear. That's the whole idea. I wonder if we're missing something. Yes, Jim, you're missing the effing point. Let's clean that up a little bit and let's see what I can see. It came off alright. It's very, very clean in there, which is super cool. That's what we like. But the actual gear and stuff, first sight, doesn't look bad. Can I blow through it? Jim, do you want to put your lips around chain oil? No, I can't. So does that mean she's internally blocked? Those are the check balls, look. 2 ball bearings. Let's get some carb cleaner or something through there and see what's what. See if we can get some flow. Because Colin can blow through that oil pipe. Or he said he could blow through it. So does that mean there's a split in that pipe? Because I can't blow through that. It could mean there's a split in that pipe and it's sucking air instead of oil. Interesting. Let's clean this up though, and we will be back. Good job, I've got plenty of cleaning spray. Doesn't matter whether it's carb spray or brake cleaner. Carb spray it evaporates a lot better. Doesn't get rid of shite as well as brake cleaner, but for what we're doing, yeah, they used to call me carb cleaning Jim. Right, I've got its first spray. I just want to clean up the ring of O there, and there's an awful lot of like black cack come off, and it's not sawdust. It's a tiny little bit of sawdust, but the majority of it felt rubbery and sticky. So I'm wondering, was there a bush of bushiness, a little rubber bush or something that sticks onto the crank, and that powers the worm gear? I don't know. Let's clean the worm gear up, put it back on, and take the sparkulator thing out and see if we can pull it over. I've not cleaned it out yet. Just tried a bit of carb clean through there, and I can't get any through it. I'm not sure whether it's meant to be able to flow through, or whether it's actually got to come across the resistance of the pump first, which sort of makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like the flow goes to the pump will stop the flow until it's running. Otherwise you're going to have oil pissing out all the time, surely. Don't know. The gear teeth and stuff feel razor sharp. I can't tell whether they're worn specifically or not. I mean, if they're supposed to rub up against the crank, then they're worn, because they do have, you can't tell on camera, but they do have a tiny taper to them. Tiny taper, the superhero we never knew we wanted. So yeah, let me try activating these check balls with the pick. So I'm going to have to do that two-handed and stab myself and see if I can get anything through. Yes. And I haven't looked at the parts microfiche yet, which is very amateurish, James, very amateurish. Press the fucking button.
One eternity later.
You were shouting at the screens, weren't you? I can hear you. All that black mush, which isn't sawdust, which I've got off the O-ring. The O-ring is in good nick. Can you see me? Do I need to put this under? Well, that's probably too much. What about that? Better? Not really. You can still see my face. I had a bit of a brain fart
I was thinking, what the hell powers that worm gear? There's no obvious gear. Before we took this cover off, what was sat on it? That's driven by the sprocket. So when the clutch comes out, engages the sprocket, spins this, which in turn turns the worm gear. Now this is black and filthy at the bottom. I'm thinking if this doesn't sit in the right position, right, you've got to imagine that cover being there, so it's not going to sit in absolutely the correct place, but will it do it for me? You should see the gear moving, look. See? Yeah. Now I haven't preloaded the pump with anything and there's no oil in it, so it won't actually pump anything through to come out there. But I'm wondering, because that sits, I'm wondering if this is worn to the extent, because obviously when the cover's on, it's not going to sit where I've just put it. Unfortunately I can't see if the pump is rotating, but if I put it there, there is little to no resistance at all on that. So I'm wondering if it's missing the pump because it's worn. That's worn. By Jove, I think I've got it. And if you have, Holmes, I don't fucking want it. Yeah, I think that is it. I think that's our culprit, because when I've just sprayed cleaner through this, and obviously it doesn't go anywhere. But when you started to rotate this little jiggery buggery by hand, you heard it through there. So I just stood on a load of ducks. So I think, obviously, is that the line? Is that the line where that sits? Do you know what I mean? I'm wondering if it's just, you see there, look, it's not doing out. Whereas if we force it down to an unworn part, it works. And it doesn't sit that low with the cover on. Yes, James, I think you fucking proved your point. There you go. It does engage with the gear, but there's bugger all there. If I could, what height is that? It's about the same as the deck. I think I'm waffling, to be honest. I think I've sussed it, and I'm just trying to convince myself that I've sussed it. Right, what height does that sit at? See, if that sits there, that's way lower than that. So if I bring that up to about there, yeah, it's not doing anything, look. It's not engaging those gears, so I think it's stripped that, or it's worn that down. And it is designed to do so if you have a stoppage on the chain. All this jiggery buggery in that clutch is designed not to send the shock down into the crank. So I think, for now, motherfuckers, that is our diagnostic conclusion complete. I don't think it needs a pump, but I am going to have a look to see how much they are, because that kit was about 15 quid, worth its weight in gold. Worth its weight in gold. The clutches, pennies. Nearly everything's under a tenner, basically. So I'm going to have a look for a new gear set, and I don't know whether it's worth replacing this cover as well, because this cover will set the height, and surely when it's working, I know it's only like a nylon, but if it's worn that, I can't feel anything, but I don't know. I'm going to look at some parts prices. So this will be part 1 of Chainsaw Diagnosis, the new shit murder series from Sky. Anyway, beverage of the day, Frosty. I get it from a website called NutriCircle, and it's cheaper than buying it in the shop. So have a look at NutriCircle, not sponsored. NutriCircle, you need to sponsor me because I like snacks. Fat bastard. Actually, I've just ordered a pair of armoured motorcycle trousers from JTS at Colville. I've used them a lot over the years, because they do weird sizes like fat bastard short legs, etc. And I've just ordered a pair of armoured riding jeans at the same size of the trousers I used to order, and I can literally pull the waistband out sort of that much. So I'm going to let Jane try them on, and if they fit her she can have them, or if not I will return them to the shop and swap them for a pair that fits my new Slenderline Frey Bentos body. So anyway, that's it for part 1 chainsaw. If you've liked it, just click like, subscribe, the lot, just to make sure that you see the next video, and it helps YouTube see this channel. Thank you. I think I'm going to have to order a roller bearing because I've just squirted shit tons of carb cleaner through that, and none of those rollers are rolling. They're going to be pennies. They're going to be pennies. Although to be fair, when it's on the shaft, stop it. They actually feel pretty good. That does actually feel pretty good on the shaft. But let's see if it's pennies. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll get it right. Part 2 to come.